Well, hello there. As I'm continuing exploring Daredevil comics, the other day I found a neat little catch in my stash. First time Daredevil and Wolverine met. And that has once again sprung me on a little journey, similar to what I did last time with Spider-Man and Daredevil. I've been exploring the relationship between Daredevil and Wolverine throughout the years. Their ups and downs, how well they work together, and more importantly, every time they fought and who won. And if you think you know how this one ends, you will be a little surprised. Let's start. Wolverine first gets interested in Daredevil a pretty long time ago, in 1983, after the fateful drop similar to what we saw in the show. During a long fight on dangerous heights between Daredevil and Bullseye, Matt loses it. He drops Bullseye off of a lethal height intending to kill him. Bullseye survives, but nearly every single bone in his body is broken, including a completely shattered spine, which leaves the villain fully paralyzed. Later on in the story, we get an amazing moment when Matt, completely at the end of his mental sanity, plays a Russian roulette with Bullseye, hoping to end him for good, and even though he gets close, he never goes through with it. A talent like Bullseye's never goes to waste though, as the same people who gave Wolverine his adamantium skeleton decide to steal Bullseye's body and do the same to him. They want to enhance the guy and make him the ultimate killer, and that's when Wolverine gets involved. He tracks down the crew all the way from Japan, knowing their next ultimate weapon is in the works, and even though he gets there in time, the soldiers gas him and land multiple shots, escaping with the villain's body. And this is when Daredevil gets involved, and the two go on a team-up journey to track the villain's body. They heard about each other before, but this is the first time they meet. And even though they never worked together, this seems like the right moment to finally team up, because they're after the same target. They want to stop the new ultimate adamantium killer being born. As the two travel throughout the city, Daredevil overhears that Logan's main contact for the job is Tarkington Brown, the man who hates Daredevil, and who operates a murder squad, killing criminals. Similar to Punisher, but as a group basically. Matt calls him a madman, while Logan mentions that they sound like his kind of folks and he likes them, which makes Matt a little uncomfortable, at least at first. As they continue their investigation, Logan clearly enjoys roughing up thugs for information a little more than needed, which bugs Matt more and more, but he still keeps his cool. A little while later, they finally find a submarine hosting Bullseye that's about to go to Japan. And that's when Matt does a paralyzing strike to the local guard, which Logan likes, but he's disappointed this move is not lethal. Funny enough, a similar move will be used on Logan himself some years later, multiple times, but that's going a little too far ahead. Out of nowhere, a literal army of thugs appear, but the duo is not scared, especially Logan. Each one is taking out swiftly as more enemies keep on crawling in, but nothing is stopping these two. At some point, Logan even starts a little game, counting who takes out more thugs between them and who's better. But before they finish up, the Tarkington guy who gave Logan the lead shows up and aims to kill Daredevil, which was basically his plan all along, I guess. But Wolverine interrupts him with a lethal swipe, after which Logan leaves to take care of the remaining thugs who are running away. Daredevil, however, has a dying man on his hands now and is presented with a choice to either let Bullseye sail away to Japan and get restored, or save the man on his hands who just tried to kill him. And of course he chooses the latter and gets the dying guy to the hospital. And that's about it for the first meet. They never even really said bye to each other or anything else, just went on their own way, I guess. And even though Matt visits Japan just a few issues later, taking care of the entire operation and stopping the whole enhancing villains with adamantium business, that delay did let them perform their last operation, and Bullseye has returned. Stronger than ever, something you saw at the end of Daredevil Season 3, in the post-credits scene, which I'm sure Matt will regret dearly, just a couple decades later. Next time the two heroes meet, just a few years later in 1987, they are already a lot more aggressive towards each other. And you will see this trend only get stronger throughout the years, especially Logan's aggressiveness towards Matt. This time Wolverine is tracking down a mutant killer, Bushwhacker, and just as Logan is about to finish the villain off, Daredevil, who's tracking the same guy, interrupts him, and the two start arguing about the whole judge, jury, and executioner thing. And Matt is trying to lecture Wolverine, which he really doesn't like. And as the two continue bickering, Bushwhacker already killed someone, just now, as these two were talking. When Matt and Logan run towards the gun sounds, when Logan sees what happens, he gets furious, and he immediately slashes Matt, blaming him in everything that happened, and rightfully so, I'd say. But Daredevil stands up and the pursuit continues. Bushwhacker sees the duo approaching and starts firing non-stop, hitting Logan and bringing him down temporarily. But that's when Daredevil gets in and lands multiple solid hits, bringing the villain down to the ground. However, after the villain is down, Logan decides to spray him with gasoline, and he wants him to burn in hell, literally. Matt wants to stop it, but the villain asks not to, saying he'd rather die than go to prison after all he did. This only reinforces his mad decision, as he grabs the bad guy and jumps away with him right before the explosion hits. Logan is not happy, and jumps in once again, trying to land one final stab to end the villain for good, but he just can't. Daredevil manages to overpower him surprisingly, and as the police arrives, Logan flees, clearly unhappy, realizing they're just very different people now. So far, the two did not really fight yet in my opinion. Yes, they bickered and had a very different view on things, but both Matt and Logan have not specifically tried to take each other out so far, which was very surprising to me. However, this is about to change, as all of the next fights between the two will be more serious. They're clearly growing more dislike towards each other, and you'll see that soon. Next serious interaction, as far as I can tell, was during the infamous Garth Ennis Punisher run, and I call it that because Garth Ennis famously hates superheroes, especially Wolverine. Garth Ennis was the original creator of the Boys comic book, but the amount of pain Wolverine goes through in these Punisher comics is honestly comical. Getting run over by a steamroller and shot in a crotch is just some of the moments. He also had Punisher use Spider-Man as a living shield against the Russian. Regardless, the story takes place when all three heroes, Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Wolverine, confront Frank to stop his non-stop bloody rampage. Frank, after seeing them, realizes he stands no chance, so he immediately walks into a random diner and simply orders a meal, saying there's no point in fighting them, he just can't take them all. With all three heroes confused, out of nowhere a superhero fan appears, and that's likely how Garth Ennis sees an average Marvel fan, and the dumb-looking nerd starts immediately bombarding his idols with questions. This pisses Wolverine off, and he asks the kid to leave. Punisher uses that to his advantage, and starts escalating the situation. He focuses on Wolverine's height, and calls Wolverine's hot-headedness and constant need for attacking people a little guy thing, and that Wolverine simply has a little guy complex. Logan clearly starts losing it, but he's understanding that Frank is trying to provoke him, so he chooses to speak against Frank instead of attack him, and as he's speaking, Frank just stands up and elbows Logan in the nose. This puts Wolverine into a complete frenzy as he jumps at Frank to kill him, and that's when Spider-Man and Daredevil of course interfere because they don't want anyone to die. Spider-Man attacks first and seems to be winning at first, but Wolverine overpowers him and kicks him out of existence pretty quickly. And that's when Daredevil appears. Logan attempts a couple shots at him but misses, and then he immediately gets subdued with one strong hit straight to his throat. This effectively puts Logan down, but Daredevil realizes that Punisher is long gone. The three heroes make up in the end and all have a warm meal at the place. My personal guess for this fight is that Garth Ennis liked Daredevil more than Wolverine, and that's about it. I wouldn't take this fight too serious. Their next fight though, oof. This one is gonna be good. We're jumping to 2004, and one of my favorite Wolverine stories of all time. A 2004 run by Mark Miller. In this story, the Hand and Hydra clans merge to form one strong entity that aims to pretty much destroy the world. And it all starts in Japan. Ichiro Yashida, a cousin of Wolverine's Japanese fiancé who passed away years ago, reaches out to Logan, asking for a very important favor. His child was kidnapped, and the thugs are asking for a very big ransom. Seeming like a random kidnapping, Wolverine takes the case, wanting to save an innocent child's life. He meets the kidnappers, and then out of nowhere an army of ninjas assault Logan. Leading an intense fight, Wolverine fights them off one by one, noticing that they are the Hand ninjas and they are already dead, so no harm in dismembering them a bit more. Basically they're walking zombies. After winning and with the last guy remaining, Logan asks where the child is, when suddenly he gets impaled in the back, and with such speed, Logan has to ask, how is that possible? Who could have been that fast? He did not see it coming, and he usually does. When Logan turns, he sees a man behind him, who simply lets him know they fed the child to the pigs, as he beheads Logan swiftly right after. The man in question is Gorgon, Hydra's latest mutant agent, a superpowered samurai who can turn people into stone if they make eye contact with him. Weeks later, S.H.I.E.L.D., led by Nick Fury and currently backed by Elektra, are uncovering the Hydra's plan bit by bit, discovering that Hydra is out to kill superheroes, who they then revive with Hand's help, and once revived, the hero in question becomes completely loyal to their cause, unable to fight back the brainwash. Wolverine's body is found weeks later, in deep waters, seemingly almost completely obliterated. The agents take him on board and start treating him, and all seems well at first. Logan's nurse even begins flirting with him, letting him know that she gave him her number, when suddenly awakened Wolverine kills her in one swift move. and as the ship's power goes out, the entire ship's crew realize they made a mistake. Wolverine starts slaughtering the crew one by one. Elektra is on the ship though, and immediately realizes Wolverine is brainwashed. She waits for a perfect attack point in between the people Wolverine slaughters, and moves in very efficiently, putting enough pressure on Logan's deltoids, paralyzing him. And it seems the victory is hers already, as she's trying to get Logan to wake up from his controlled state. Unfortunately, the ship is rigged to explode, and as everything goes to shit, Logan escapes amidst the chaos. Over the next few weeks, all of the important superheroes have been assigned additional security by the Shield. The entire X Mansion is on full lockdown, with all kids sitting inside one room, covered with booby traps all around. At the same time, the Fantastic Four's Baxter building is on full lockdown too. Basically, everyone is in full panic mode, as Wolverine can go for anyone next, and as it turns out, it's Fantastic Four. He attacks the Thing and Human Torch first. Thing throws a car at him and Johnny flies straight at Wolverine, starting to burn his flesh alive and not letting him move. Wolverine is not alone on this mission though, and the building's security has already been hacked. So the fire extinguishers all go out at Johnny, incapacitating him, and as Logan is about to land the final blow, the Thing appears and the real fight starts, seemingly winning at first, wielding a giant bunch of wires, I think. The Thing lands hit after hit, but Logan is not that simple as he starts cutting through them, getting closer and closer until he finally stabs the Thing. And the stab was very efficient because this effectively puts the Thing out of the battle, and as Wolverine is about to finish him off, Reed finally appears. He traps Wolverine and himself, literally. And despite Wolverine trying to stab his way out of there, Reed is constantly extending his body, and any holes are covered immediately after they're made. This leaves Wolverine's operating team no choice but to teleport him out of there. And when they do, out of nowhere Invisible Woman appears. She attacks Logan by simply making a force field around his head, taking away his air. And that's it. Interestingly enough, Wolverine knew Invisible Woman would be the most dangerous out of all of them, and he was right. Logan cannot do anything and he's pretty much down, but that's when Baxter building explodes, as Wolverine laid an explosive device before beginning an assault. This takes Invisible Woman down. However, an army of S.H.I.E.L.D. is almost there, so Logan has to retreat immediately. He got what he wanted though, endless designs of a multitude of weapons made by Reed Richards himself. Finally, we're getting to the whole point of why I'm going over this story. Weeks pass and Nick Fury has increased guards all around the superhero community, waiting for the next Wolverine strike. However, someone was forgotten. Someone Nick Fury did not even think of assigning additional protection for. That's right, Daredevil wakes up, seeing Wolverine and an army of hand ninjas in front of him, ready for the kill. The Hand has been after him for a long time, and it's finally time to get rid of Daredevil. And what's seemingly an impossible situation to get out of gets a lot easier, as it turns out Elektra was the only one potentially seeing this coming, as her and Daredevil have a long romantic history. Elektra snipes Wolverine from far away, and that gives Matt enough time to jump into cover and prepare for an assault himself. And here's where we'll go a little deeper into the fight. You see, even though Logan is brainwashed, he still has his own thoughts, and we can see what he's thinking the entire time during the fight. Right after getting kicked by Daredevil, Wolverine notices that Matt is fast, faster than he remembered after not seeing him for years. But one thing Wolverine absolutely despises about Matt is surprisingly his success in women. Logan is almost jealous, noticing how much love and success Matt gets from women, and how they always choose him, while he gets almost nothing, and even Jean Grey refused him. Matt does not hold back on anyone, as the hand ninjas are already dead, and Logan will heal from injuries he will get. As the fight progresses, Wolverine's darker half grows disdain more and more towards Matt, thinking how no one even cared to protect a handicapped superhero, not being sure why they're even wasting their time with him. However, Matt does not give in and continues lightning strikes, taking out nearly every ninja in the room, leaving only the two of them. That's when Wolverine's realization kicks in. In his words, S.H.I.E.L.D. thinks it's all about the powers, but it's the skills that count the most. Street level types get no respect, but they are the best at what they do, as Logan mentions. They simply can't afford to make a mistake, as they don't have a magical hammer or a fancy armor to protect them, or for that matter, a healing factor. And that's when Logan realizes this might be a tougher fight than he thought. With just two of them left, all ninjas disposed, Matt gets winded and Logan finally gets a good hit in. As he's about to finish him, Matt grabs his weight and slams it into Logan's head. As the mutant loses balance, he starts falling down and lands hard on one of the swords, completely piercing his heart. This was just enough kick, as Logan dies for just a few seconds before his heart regenerates. Enough time to get his body back in control just for a few seconds. Awake from his brainwash, Logan uses his brief time and tells Matt all of it. All of this was a hoax. The real target is not the superheroes, as Hydra is aiming to take out the President of the United States. He tells Matt to tell everyone, S.H.I.E.L.D. specifically, and with that, Hydra teleports Wolverine out as they can't afford to lose him. And even though Daredevil won, it's not exactly over yet, but the next issue is the finale of the story, as all eyes are on the President of the United States, and the Hydra's plan is revealed. And even though Wolverine goes around the guard and tries to kill the President using Cerebro, infiltrating the X-Mansion, he does not succeed and is taken down with combined powers of the X-Men and Avengers. They don't let him teleport out this time, and Logan is finally restored, joining his fellow superheroes. So this was the enemy of the state. In this story, Daredevil didn't play a very big role, but I'd say it's one of the more important ones, because he was the first one to actually take down Wolverine, and finally get the information on Hydra's endgame. So there's that. And now, time for the last fight between Daredevil and Wolverine, at least as far as I'm aware, which takes place in Daredevil's most recent run. In this story, Daredevil is tasked with catching and exercising the 7 deadly sins released in the world. Each deadly sin took over one superhero, and in each issue, Daredevil has to defeat a superhero who is currently possessed. And in issue 7, Daredevil tracks down Wolverine, who is quite literally devil-possessed. Daredevil enters the bar and sees multiple people already taken out by Logan, sensing immediately that Logan is different. He is supercharged, and just lusts for more violence. Before finishing his thoughts, Wolverine attacks immediately. He tries to land multiple shots, but Matt manages to evade them at first. Finally, a full-on brawl ensues, where both characters start landing non-stop attacks at each other. And even though Matt is landing strikes, they don't compare to the slashes Logan does. Matt realizes he is in trouble, as the literal devil Wolverine does not plan to stop. He kicks Logan out on an open truck to get him away from people, and they continue to fight on a moving vehicle, with Matt starting to bleed out more and more. He tries to choke out Logan, but that does not work, getting both characters on the ground. There is a lot of blood, and Wolverine is immediately fully healed up. And that's what Matt realizes he might not win this one, as Demon of Lust is making Wolverine more feral than ever. They continue fighting as Daredevil starts evading hits once again. He realizes there's only one way he can win now. He plunges Logan into water as he's holding him down and slowly drowning him. He starts the exorcism process. Note that being drowned is one of Logan's weaknesses, as Logan's skeleton is very heavy and drowns in water quickly. And with that, the exorcism process just about works. And once the demon is out, Daredevil pulls both him and Logan out of water, with Logan being out for good but healing fully and normally. And just like that, after a very painful fight, the two have some bonding time in the bar. So here you go. I just realized that Daredevil saved Wolverine from possession mind controller stuff twice in comics already, which is exactly what he did to Spider-Man multiple times as well. I guess that's the only way superheroes fight, for the most part. And it's starting to seem like a trend to me when a hero turns somewhat evilish, either on their own will or not. Daredevil is there to take care of the business, and despite all odds, Daredevil ended up winning. And as a logical conclusion, let's go over why. First of all, we can agree on one thing. Daredevil is simply a better hand-to-hand fighter than Wolverine, as Logan himself mentions when fighting him. When Logan can afford to make a mistake many times throughout the fight, no matter who or where he fights, man gets a lot less room for error and simply has to be better to survive. He has no healing factor. Next point is Matt being very agile, almost on par with Spider-Man as we saw before. Finally, and that's a repeating point, Daredevil is once again presented as an underdog. The writers simply want him to win because they like him, and Matt always gets to think of clever or lucky ways to achieve what is seemingly an impossible victory. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, I'd really appreciate your subscription. If you want any deep dives into who won when they fought each other in comics, or overall just to look into specific characters' history, leave a comment and I'll be sure to consider it. See you next time, bye bye.